Hello, neighbors. Coming in a little hot tonight, wet hair and everything. I was part of a team of folks who got to corral 3 lost dogs today. I will talk more about that later because it actually fits right into what I'm talking about tonight. So, I want to dive right in, but again, I'm coming in a little hot here, so let me adjust my screen. Sorry, I will try my best not to shake it throughout the night. I hope everybody's doing really well. Today is August 19th. It's a beautiful day, a little bit gloomy, which is kind of something I enjoy. And I'm really grateful that you've joined me. If you're not joining me tonight, that's fine. I'm just happy that you're taking a look at these videos, or this one at least, and that you're concerned about the salaries in our city. We have a lot of room for improvement, in my opinion. And though it's true that the mayor does not make salary decisions on their own, I can at least, once elected, be a very loud voice for the change I think should happen. And tonight's events that I alluded to earlier definitely are part of why I think we need to make some changes. So I've got my trusty other laptop over here, so you'll see me looking down because I'll be referencing some things throughout tonight's video. And I'm not going to rest it up here. Oh, guess I'm going to shake the camera, which I just did. Sorry, everybody. So I want to let you know where I am and how I found this information. It's really easy. So if you're the kind of nerd that I am and you want to double check my numbers, you go right ahead. Simply Google Three River City salaries. That's all you've got to do. One of the first search results comes up is govsalaries.com. And if you just click there, it will take you right to the website and the actual URL that I'm at, which is govsalaries.com/salaries/mi/city-of-3-rivers. Pretty easy. Now, these are 2024 salaries, and to ensure that they were correct, I contacted a couple of friends who are elected officials in other municipalities, and their salaries were correct. So, for example, in some municipalities, the clerk is elected. Ours is not. Ours is appointed. But I did check with the clerk from a nearby municipality, and she said, yep, that's what I made last year. So, and my other friend is an appointed person too. So I'd like to begin by talking about which salaries we're going to talk about here. This website does not have every single salary that the city pays, but it does have most. But it appears, unless we have an incredibly tiny police and fire department, which I don't think we do, that not every single salary is captured here. But we have a plethora of numbers to go through tonight. So betting everybody can guess who the most highly paid person in our community is. I'll give you guys a minute to think it through. It's not the mayor. I'll tell you that. It's definitely not the mayor. If anybody thinks that I am running for mayor for the money, wait till I get to their salary because it's at the bottom. And there's an anomaly too, because I think, as I said in possibly last week's video, the city charter and what's written in this website don't add up. So, all right. So I'm sure you guys all have your guesses of who is the most highly paid person on our city's payroll. And when I look at the top 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I mean, they're all exactly who you'd expect. They are the top officials in our city. Of course, not the city commission. The city commission is paid about this much. The mayor gets about that much. So, well, let's jump right into it. So in 2024, and also let's consider that these numbers are just salary. This doesn't count any additional benefits that someone is paid. This doesn't count our insurance contributions to their health insurance, life insurance, anything that we offer. It doesn't cover pension contributions, lots of different things that aren't on here. So these numbers are not absolute. This is not our total city spend for how much we're spending per employee here. Also, this website is great because it gives you a lot of information about what the median is, what the average is, what people in that same position in other municipalities are paid. I love it. Again, it's govsalaries.com. So you guys guessed it. Our most highly paid person is, of course, Joe Bippis. So he's our city manager. It's not the worst idea to have our city manager be paid the highest salary. Let's take a few guesses. I'll give you a moment to guess. I'll tell you it's well over 100,000, which we'll get back to that. But I think that's about the target of where we should be, is about 100K. So last year, Joe Bippis was employed in the city of Three Rivers and had an annual salary of $132,000. $132,642, according to public records. This salary was 334% higher than the average and 721% higher than the median salary of Three Rivers. That's a lot of money, especially for someone who, at least as far as I know, has another job, or at least did have another job for quite some time. Let's see. And he's been the city manager since 2015. In the year 2024, Joe Bippis's salary was 7% higher than the average city manager salary in the state of Michigan. So we're a very small municipality. We have approximately 8,000 people, and not all cities have city managers. So to have it be 7% higher than the average, we should be getting a big bang for our buck. All right, let's dig a little deeper. According to public records, this employee's salary increased by $6,298 between 2023 and 2024, which is a 5% raise. Since 2015, since he started, his salary has increased by $24,501 for a total rise of 22.7%. How many of us have had a 22% raise in 9 years? Probably almost nobody watching this video. I did it once. I had one job where I got a huge promotion and I actually doubled my salary. But I started at the bottom and I worked my way pretty much, to just a few steps from the top. But in no other position have I ever had the same position and had my salary increase by 21, almost 23%. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a look at some other salaries too. And I'm sorry I'm looking down, guys, but that's where I'm reading. I'm trying to kind of hold my computer up. So again, this is 2024. Our deputy fire department chief is the next person in line, and that's Mark Williams. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm not sure I would recognize him if I did. Probably a really nice guy. I like all the fire department people that I've ever met. They've been delightful. I can't think of a single firefighter I've ever met in my entire life who wasn't a wonderful person. Personally, I think it is the most honorable job in the world, above and beyond anything else. There's no other job where you literally sign up to intentionally put your life on the line through nearly every action you have. And actually, I got to interact with a few firefighters the other day, the fire chief too. And he was the only one whose name I actually know. I didn't get close enough to see the rest of their name tags, but I'd like to talk about that too because they were delightful. So Mark Williams, deputy fire chief in 2024, made $107,991. This salary was 253% higher than the average and 568% higher than the median salary of Three Rivers. Let's see. His salary now we're getting into the good stuff here. You can tell I'm partial to firemen. I really like fire people, I should say, or firefighters. There are some women too. In the year 2024, Mark Williams' salary was 19% lower than the average deputy fire chief salary in the state of Michigan. So we've got our city manager who's 7% above, and we've got our deputy fire chief being 19% lower. I don't like that. He must have had a pretty good promotion because it says that since 2022, his salary has increased by $73,036, a total rise of 208.9%. So clearly he got a big promotion. That's what I'm guessing happened. Because he got a $25,000 raise from 23 to 24, which was 30%. So he must be moving up in the ranks. Thank you, Deputy Chief Williams. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for running into burning buildings and jumping into icy rivers. I think your salary needs an adjustment. It should not be nearly 20% lower than the average salary. All right, next up, and this is, as far as I know, from highest to lowest, is Stephen Dibble. He's a police detective sergeant. And let's see. In 2024, he had an annual salary of $97,299. This salary was 218% higher than the average and 502% higher than the median salary in the city of Three Rivers. Three Rivers records show that Stephen Dibble held two jobs from 2015 to 2024. In 2024, his salary was 18% lower than the average police sergeant detective salary. Again, we've got the people who put their lives on the line with salaries nearly 20% lower than the average, but somebody who sits at a desk 7% over. I think we need to do some reallocation. According to public records, the employee's salary increased by $14,000 from 2023 to 2024, which is a 17.4% raise. Since 2015, the salary has increased $53,689 for a total rise of 123.1%. So clearly he's had some promotions as well. Great, thank you. I appreciate your continued service, sir. Thank you so much. But I don't like that your salary is 18% lower than the average person doing your job. That's not good enough for me. I think we need to balance these things out just a little bit. Sorry, having trouble backing up here. All right, next up is our fire chief, who it seems makes less than our deputy chief, or I'm sorry, than the, oh goodness, did I just mess something up here? I hope I didn't. I'm live, so I'm not sure if I did. Maybe I clicked the wrong button. I was on Stephen Dibble. Now I'm on our fire chief, who is Paul Schoon. Very nice man. Met him a couple of times. He was actually at my house the other morning when, for the second time, I smelled I shouldn't say consistent. I smelled intermittent gas consistently throughout a morning. And it happened at some point within the past year or so. And it was the same thing. Got up in the morning, pottied my dog, smelled gas. Wasn't too strong. Went back inside, came back out a little while later. Same thing. Now it's stronger. Back inside, came out later. Same thing. Now it's stronger. At one point, I had some fans facing inside into my house because it was warm that morning. And my whole house smelled like gas, but it was definitely coming from outside. So, like I said, this had happened in the past, and I called it into dispatch, and they sent out like 2 people. I told them basically exactly what I told you. It's definitely outside. It's not my house. I actually thought it was coming from northeast of me. That first time it happened, sure enough, they sent Semco out too and confirmed there was a gas leak a block or 2 away. So I called dispatch, told them everything I just told you. Again, not my house, not coming from inside, happened before, came from the east or the northeast. Unfortunately, dispatch didn't relay all that information to our fire department. So they brought a truck, a couple of ambulances, another truck, like 5 or 6 employees, all unnecessary. And the first guy that showed up, he was here within minutes. They were all here within just a couple minutes. But he's like, okay, where's your gas meter? And he's coming in with his equipment. I'm like, it's not my house. It's definitely not my house. I told him, again, what I just told you. He's like, oh. I'm like, they didn't tell you that? He said, no. So Chief Schoon came with, like I said, the rest of the people that he brought with. And we had to tell him the story. Not my house. It's still over there. So I don't know if they ever found the leak, but he was so kind. They all were. They didn't make me feel crazy for reporting it. Unfortunately, they didn't have records of the last one, so it wasn't easy for them to go and find wherever it was. But I moved my fans, went about my day, and actually left early that day, so I don't know if it ever got taken care of. But I had a lovely interaction with Mr. Schoon. He was a lovely man. So Chief Schoon, I should say. So looking at his salary, we've got $95,041. His salary is 211% higher than the average and 488% higher than the median salary in the city of Three Rivers. Records show that he held 3 jobs from 2015 to 2014. From 22 to 24, he has been our fire chief, and he still is here now in 2025. His salary is 6% higher than the average. I guess I'm okay with that. That's not bad. I would like to see our fire chief and our firefighters and our police officers having a higher salary. Definitely not pushing 20% lower. That is not good enough for me. According to public records, his salary increased by $8,700 from 23 to 24, a 10% raise. And since 2015, when he started, his salary has increased by $17,356 for a total rise of 22.3. Now, I don't know if he came from another department. Maybe he started at a better salary, because I doubt he started, at 22% less as just a regular firefighter. But it's possible. That was 2015. Things may have changed. Again, nice guy, earns every penny. I'm pretty comfortable with his salary. I like to see it's a little above the average. All right. Who's up next? Okay, this is where it gets a little dicey. Now, again, I really like our chief. Nothing against him at all. I just told a lovely story about him. I met him at the pancake breakfast too. Super nice guy. I'm happy that he's getting paid well. The next person, the next highest paid person, is our director of finance and administration, and that's Roberta Schoon, also known as Bobby Schoon, and I'm pretty sure it's his wife because that's what it looks like on Facebook. Let's take a look at her salary. She makes $93,337 according to public records. Her salary was 205% higher than the average and 478% higher than the average median salary in Three Rivers. City of Three Rivers records show Roberta Schoon held 4 jobs from 2017 to 2024. Let's see, from 2023 to 2024, she held the job of Director of Finance and Administration. In 2024, her salary was 20% lower than the average Director of Finance and Administration in Michigan. So that's not good either. I don't like that she's being underpaid. What I do know is that she used to be the executive director of the library. So she has a history with the city. I've interacted with her just a couple of times, very, very briefly. She was a polite, smiling face, efficient at the questions I had for her. And the one thing I needed her to do seems like a lovely, lovely lady. When I said it was a little dicey, I think when you're looking at $90,000 and $90,000 in a little tiny town, it makes me wonder, if I didn't know these two lovely individuals, how far did we look to find a finance director? What was our interview process? How many people were qualified? Does she have the right degree for that? It's just, and I'm not saying she shouldn't have been hired. Again, these are lovely people. I imagine they work their tails off for our city. I promise you nothing I'm saying is saying that they've done anything inappropriate or that they don't deserve their positions. But I do believe that it's very important that city governments do everything they can to remove any possible appearance of impropriety. So I didn't look when she was hired into this position. I didn't even know she got this position, but I would hope that the city released a report and said, we advertised this position in this place, that place, and the other. I would think your normals, Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, X number of qualified candidates applied, and we interviewed X number of people, and we found the best fit was Roberta Schoon. I don't ever remember seeing anything like that happen in our city, but it's something that in the future I would like to see happen if we're going to hire a very close family member of someone who's on our top 5 paid list. Again, I think they're wonderful people. I have not one bad word to say about either one of them. I imagine they're both incredibly qualified, but it's just something that the city should look at and make sure that we are on the up and the up. So, all that said, next up we have, our police chief, Scott Bowling. All right. So he made $90,938, 197% higher than the average, and 463% higher than the average median salary in Three Rivers. So these folks are making, everybody we've talked about so far, sorry, I'm jiggling my camera, they're making a good deal more money than, the median salary here in town. So we have to be, I think, a little extra careful with how we hire, how we debate salaries, how things come about, and with being really forthcoming with the citizens about what exactly we're doing with this money. Now, his 2024 salary was 1% lower than the average police chief salary in the state of Michigan. I don't really like that. I don't ever want to see somebody, in that position making less. I mean, I doubt he's out there working a beat. And I think if anybody deserves, a higher percentage over the average, it's the 3 police officers I interacted with a few hours ago who corralled a bunch of stray dogs that, could have torn them to pieces. And, the men and women who just might take a bullet out in our community. But, 1%'s not bad. It's almost average. According to public records, this employee's salary increased by $6,332 from 23 to 24, which is a 7% rise. And since 2022, the salary has increased by $10,494 for a total rise of 13%. I don't have much to say about that. 90 grand isn't bad money. It's not great. He's our police chief. We want to make sure that we're taking care of good people. Now, full disclosure, I've interacted with Chief Bowling a few times, and I have nicer things to say about other people. I can't say anything terrible about him, but he didn't give me the warm fuzzies, you know. Whereas I can say some other officers absolutely have. There are definitely some people on our team who go out into our community every single day, bust their behinds to make our community safe, to make this a wonderful place to live, work, and thrive, who go above and beyond to ensure the safety of, you know, me and you and all of our neighbors. That kid riding his bike down the street just a moment ago. And I want to make sure that they're all taken care of really well. Even our chief, who probably, I'm saying I don't know for sure, but probably spends most of his time at City Hall. So next up, we have fire captain / paramedic Chad Witt, W-I-T-T. Never met him. I've seen some video of him. Again, that's Chad Witt with 2 T's. I highly suggest that you go ahead and Google his name and watch the video too. From what I saw in that video, he is a wonderful human being. I believe, I'm not certain, but I believe he is or was at least in the video, the union president. I grew up in a blue collar home. Almost everybody had a union job. I think I walked my first picket line at probably 13 or 14. That was for my teachers union at my high school. And I've always known that unions are the way to go. If it weren't for unions, we would be working 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. We wouldn't have any benefits, any PTO. We wouldn't have any of the things that we have today. Are all unions perfect? No, they're not. I can say that the teachers union at my university, my alma mater, definitely protects professors. It shouldn't. And if anybody would like to ask me about that someday, I will happily tell you. But overall, I think unions are fantastic and I'm grateful for them. And it's really important that we have good people running our unions because nobody wants to. It's a thankless job sometimes. There's generally no compensation and it's just extra work, but it's honorable work. So Chad Witt here, a fire captain and paramedic, is somebody who does not only the most honorable job, in my opinion, but one that's pretty darn close. I can't think of, much more honorable than being the president of your firefighters union. So thank you, Captain Witt. I appreciate you. And I wish you and your family every blessing in the world. Thank you for your service to our city. So let's take a look at his salary. Chad Witt earned $86,110,000. Gosh, I can't speak tonight. 86 one time, guys. It's been a long day. Lots of numbers today, lots of meetings. His salary was 182% higher than the average and 433% higher than the median salary in Three Rivers. Records show that he held 3 jobs from 2015 to 2024, and he became the fire captain paramedic in 2020. In 2024, his salary was 10% lower than the average fire captain paramedic salary in the state of Michigan. That's not good enough. I'm sorry, that is not good enough for somebody who has literally broken his neck for our community. Watch the video. I'll talk about it. According to public records, the salary increased by $588 from 23 to 24, a 0.7% rise. Since 2015, his salary has increased by $25,471 for a total rise of 42.0%. So he's clearly had some promotions here, but he's underpaid by 10% compared to the average, and he got a 0.7% raise, not even 1%. That's not good enough for me. That's not good enough for me. So we've talked about, pretty much the top 5-6 people here. Let's see, who else's name jumps out at me? I'm looking for directors here. Let's see. All right, Amy Roth. I've interacted with Amy numerous times, especially when I was on the the DDA. And again, just a couple of years ago when I put together yet another Home Depot, Team Depot combo with the city. And we went and Worked hard to sand down some picnic tables, give things some nice coats of varnish. The first time I did that was back in, I think, 2013. And we actually made it a 3-day project. It was amazing. There's a great picture of me in one of the ponds in waders, looking terrible. I will definitely share that picture because I look awful, but my smile is about this big because it was one of the best days of my life. I probably took half a bottle of Advil that day from being sore, but it was wonderful. I made it a district project, or I got it approved to be a district project when I worked at Home Depot, and they sent people from 12 different stores to help beautify our town. And it was, like I said, one of the best days of my life. It was 3 days that Home Depot was there, and then the 5th day was washdown day when the whole community came. We weeded, we painted, we gathered garbage, and one of the things that I got to do was get in both of Skidmore Park's ponds. Oh, I did it again. It's Sidmore, not Skidmore. Sidmore Park. And got all the weeds out. And the way you do that is they give you pitchforks and you jam your pitchfork in and you twist it up and you rip the weeds out and you just sort of shuck them away. And everybody does that until there's the whole pile of weeds going in the pond. And then the DPS big scoopy truck, I don't know what they're called, but they come by and they just scoop them up and they take them off to God knows where. And it's a whole load of fun. So backbreaking labor, but a whole load of fun. It probably needs to be done again. So maybe I can get Home Depot out there and get some people to donate some waders for the day. So Amy's been with Three Rivers for quite some time. She has been the director of public services since 2015. And her annual salary is $80,718. This salary is 164% higher than the average and 399% higher than the median salary in Three Rivers. Let's see. According to public records, the salary increased $6,727 from 2023 to 24, which is a 9.1% rise. Since 2015, her salary has increased by $17,331, with a total rise of 27.3%. That's an okay salary. I don't know. That's not so bad. It doesn't say, does it say her comparison? I don't have any points here on the comparison to other municipalities. I do know, though, that not everybody's thrilled with Public Works. I don't have any problem with them. They've been very good to me every time I've called. Someone lovely has answered. In fact, a lovely lady named Megan is the person I've dealt with a few times. I don't know if her salary is in here. Maybe she's a newer employee. I know that somebody retired a couple of years ago. But Megan, if you ever see this, you're fantastic. And I'm glad that the city has you. Thank you for your service. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, here's one. I'd love to talk about our clerk's salary. Now, a lot of times clerks are elected. You'll know that we elect our county clerk, but we appoint our city clerk. And I think Leslie is fantastic. She is Johnny on the spot every time I've needed anything. I mean, she's either answering the phone or calling me back in 5 minutes, emailing me the right information. Here's the form. Here's the info. Here's what you need. She is a Janie on the spot. I think she's fantastic. I'm grateful that she is part of our city. I think she's doing a great job. In my opinion, it's the clerk who's really running the show. I've known a few of our clerks in the past, and they're always the ones who have all the information. So I think it's really important that we take very, very good care of our clerks. They are keepers of all our records, and they're the ones who have, institutional knowledge. The longer they stay, the longer they're going to know. And I hope this isn't taken wrong by any current or former clerk, but they kind of seem like my kind of nerd, where they're really good with knowing exactly what comes from where. And I hope that anybody listening knows that that is a big compliment. And yay, thank you, Leslie, for working with our city. She makes $75,618. Let's see. There is no comparison for her and, what percentage she makes, higher or lower than the average. She had a salary increase of $6,471 from 2023 to 2024, which is a 9.4% rise. Since 2015, the salary has increased by $33,968. Let's see. And she's been here. She's had 3 different jobs since 2015. So good for her. And so she does have a great deal of institutional knowledge. I'm very happy that she is our clerk. And I don't know. I mean, I think that that's a decent pay, 75. That's okay. I'd like to see the average, though. I appreciate that this site usually brings us averages. All right. Let's pick somebody else here. All right, Police Sergeant Matthew Kilborn. One of my favorites. Absolute favorite. I shouldn't say one of. He is my favorite. I think he's an outstanding public servant. Um, I won't go into all the wonderful things and dangerous and disgusting things I've seen him do on behalf of our citizens, but he was, or maybe still is, I don't know if he still has this position, but he was our like specific meth officer. He was part of, I believe, a county team, and his knowledge and courage and service is, as far as I've ever encountered, unsurpassed in this town. I have watched him wade through filth to ensure the safety of and fleas, filth and fleas. I have personally witnessed him do to ensure the safety of our residents. So, God bless you, Matt Kilborn. You're a good man. Let's see, Sergeant Kilborn. Sorry. So I don't think he makes enough money. I don't know if there's the comparisons here. Ooh, there is, and it's terrible. Sergeant Kilborn makes $79,845 a year, which is about this much more than the starting salary for police officers in my hometown of Lansing, Illinois. They start in basically the 70s when you add up all the goodies they get, holiday pay and such, which this should be considering. He's held 2 jobs from 2015 to 2014. However, I believe he's been here longer than that, because when I'm thinking of that very disgusting job he took care of, or the place he was, that was, I believe, 2013. So, let's see. Anyway, he's had, according to this, it says from 2015 to 2024, and he's been a sergeant since 2016. His salary, unacceptable, let me tell you, 21% lower than the average police sergeant in the state of Michigan. Why is that? Why is that? This man goes into garbage-filled places to make sure people are safe, and he makes 21% lower than the average police sergeant? Not good enough. According to public records, he had a salary increase of about $3,200 from 2023 to 24, which is a 4.3% raise. Since 2015, the salary has increased $15,000. That's not enough. One of the reasons I'm talking about salaries here is because if we want to attract the best and the brightest people to serve our community, people like firefighters, people like police officers, we need to be paying them at least the right percentage in comparison to the people who sit behind a desk. I think if you run into a burning building and you're making any percentage lower than the average, while somebody who sits behind a desk is making any percentage over, we need to reallocate some funds. Now, again, the mayor cannot do that on their own. But what I can do is say everything I'm saying to you from the dais in City Hall and do my darndest to rally the rest of the commission to work this stuff out. This is unacceptable, the way our salaries are spread. We need to do better. We need to have the best possible salaries available for the people who risk their lives for our community. And look, I'm sitting here with wet hair today, and I'm going to get real with you guys. I have not had overwhelmingly positive interactions with our police department. I was actually walking Maggie today. She's sitting back here. I'm sorry, looking adorable, being her cute little self. And on our walk today, I was preparing for this video, and I was thinking about all the interactions I've had over the years with the police. And for the record, at no point during any one of those was I ever in any trouble, suspected of any trouble. I believe I initiated almost probably every encounter I had. So I was thinking back to I was thinking back to one where I lived over the mayor's bookstore at the time. He used to be my landlord. And I was walking my dogs later in the evening. It was very snowy. It was just a terrible night. And there was a very intoxicated woman who had spilled out of Paisanos, who was barking like a dog and continued to fall down. She could barely pick herself up. For her own safety, I called it in. I mean, this woman was going to get hurt if somebody didn't come and collect her and, help her sober up. So those police officers were wonderful that night. They were as good a men as I could ever have asked for, but they did not take her in. And one of the officers said to me, I was giving him a hard time about it. I'm like, she's clearly out of her mind drunk. They told me there is no public intox rule here in the city of Three Rivers. I said, she's going to hurt herself. What if she gets in a car? And he said, well, then we can arrest her. Great. You have to wait until she puts somebody else's life in jeopardy, till you can. And the officer said to me, and I was probably not being the most polite person ever. I was, cordial, but I was giving them a hard time. And this would have been probably right around 2010, 11, 12, right around in that area. And this was when, oh goodness, his name is escaping me, our former prosecutor who I believe he was convicted of drunk driving. McDonough, that's who it was. I think it was drunk driving. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he was our prosecutor, county prosecutor at the time. And he said, look, we can't bring her in. He's like, they're not going to prosecute her. Nothing's going to happen. I said, well, you don't need to prosecute her for anything, but at least take her in, like get her somewhere safe. And he said, do you have any idea the kind of crap I'd face if I did that? I was completely taken aback. And he said to me, he got a little choked up. He got tears in his eyes. And he said, look, lady, I've got a wife and kids to feed. I can't rock the boat like that. She'll sober up. She'll be okay. I see worse than this every day. And that was over 10 years ago, and I never forgot that. So we need to take better care of our cops. When I think about the negative interactions I've had, I also compare that to decent interactions I've had this summer and this spring where I was chatting with a police officer and I was waiting for him to fill something out for me and just kind of walking around outside. And I look at his tire and I realize, his front tire is like completely bald on the outside of it. So I walked around to the other side. That tire's okay. Well, I've been poor. I know how you get a tire like that. You need an alignment and you don't get one. So thinking, we've got cops driving around on half-bald tires that at least have bad alignments. These guys are doing any speed they need to do to get where they need to go to keep the public safe. What if they're in a high-speed chase? What if, they're going to be the very first responder before a paramedic if a child's choking or someone's dying? I mean, you know what I mean. And they're driving around on bald tires? That might make me have an attitude too. So that leads me to my conclusion, I guess. I ran into that same officer today. While Maggie and I were taking our walk, as I was mentally preparing for tonight's episode, we found a stray dog. And sweet dog. I put her on Facebook. She's on my mayoral page, and she's on the Three Rivers information page. Just an absolute sweetie pie. Nails about this long. I'd like to give her people the what for. But anyway, so I called her in, and I was just walking up and down the street with her, trying to find her family. And I said I was in the 500 block of Maple, and I see the police come through, and they're in this 400 block of Maple. I'm sorry, I think I said 6, but they're in the 400 block. And I'm yelling, hey, over here, are you here for the dog? And I realized there's more dogs running around. So these two officers who were absolute sweethearts, they managed to get the puppy. And then there was this other dog that was very skittish, good size, part shepherd, maybe part husky, maybe a mix. And you couldn't tell if it was nice or not. We easily got the dog that I had in this yard. Somebody let us use their yard that was fenced. And they were trying to corral this dog. And I'm sitting there thinking, these guys don't make enough. They're in this small contained area with two dogs they don't know. Okay, one of them we've got on a leash. The other one's not on a leash. I'm stupid and I love dogs. So I just sat down and made friends with it, and it did come over to me. And eventually we got it latched up and into the vehicles. But Officer Richie, the one who had helped me out before and whose bald tires I saw, happened to be the third responding officer. And I got a look, and he has had some new tires. So that's good news. But the fact that it got that bad is just unacceptable to me. We cannot have our police officers out there with faulty equipment. We can't have our fire department out there without every single thing they need. And it's time to take a hard look at our budget. I can tell you this, I'm sure there's not enough money to go around, but we can take it from where it can be taken from. And I'm sure there are things that we're doing that don't need to be done or that don't need to be funded to the levels that they are. We need to take care of the people who take care of us. So I would propose, if it were up to me, I would knock Joe Bippis's salary down to $100,000 redistribute that 32,000, see what we can do with it, or just put it straight towards salaries. And I would look at where else we can tighten our belts so that our first responders are the people who are paid above their percentages in comparison to the rest of the state, so that they feel taken care of. And I think that might soften some of the less than stellar attitudes I've experienced. Um, so those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on salary. Again, you can get this all online. Just Google it. It's not that hard to do. And if you're interested in seeing somebody sitting up there on the dais at City Hall saying all the things I've said to you tonight, please vote for me on November 4th. I've got some media coming out soon. Some of you will be hearing from me. All of you, I hope, will be hearing from me. But I appreciate you watching. It's been about 40 minutes. That's a lot. I doubt anybody's going to get through this whole video. But if you do, thank you. If you've even watched 5 minutes of it and given, our town 5 minutes of your time, I'd really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Stay safe out there, and let's get our good guys paid a little more. Take care, everybody.